both of their campaigns have already released statements criticizing your remarks on the Beck Show. Do you think this might hurt you politically?
I don't see it doing that. I think, there's a little bit of truth to any media is good media. It's certainly made even more people look, and I think what they intended for ill, and I believe, they sure got out awful quick for something that was just spontaneous. They sure came quick with the robocalls around Texas. It felt a little bit like a sandbagging on this end. That may not be what it was, but it certainly felt that way. We definitely think it was an attack, and we're going to continue to stay focused on what needs to happen in Texas, on leading Texas, getting private property, defending life, liberty, and property, and getting back to that constitutional republic we've been talking about for months.
May I comment? I'm not on a microphone, but maybe I can speak loud enough you can hear me. Don't be distracted from your message. It's perfect. This could be a distraction. Actually, as a person listening to you the first time, developed a lot of sympathy because they ganged up on you, they threw a trick question, they stood around and giggled afterwards, and they were the asses of the occasion, and you are the winner.
I make a statement to encourage you. If we had a government that we trusted, we wouldn't even be what's called a 9/11 truth movement. That's why we need you to run. We need someone we can trust. So you'll be disturbed.
That's not where we're headed. We've got to win this race. We're going to restore private property ownership, gun ownership, state sovereignty in Texas. That's the goal. And they're going to, I don't know where the next attack will come from, but I think they're coming, because if y'all go by, we gained another 1,000 Facebook fans today. We got $40,000 more in the bank account today. They're going to come again. They're going to do everything they can to make me look straight, because there's no rape, there's no incest, there's no adultery, there's no drug use, there's no alcohol abuse, there's no bankruptcies, there's no arrest, there's no criminal background.
What else you got?
That's right.
Well, I voted for Rick Perry both times. However, in the last few years, I have seen and learned more about him and have not been happy at all. Just the whole establishment Republican, the Trans-Texas corridor was really annoying, the vaccine, and so at that point I was already looking for another candidate, and that's when we learned about Debra.
Perry right now, he's a career politician, and I'm of the belief right now, with the direction of our country and our state, we need to get rid of the career politicians. We need to get rid of the folks who are embedded with special interests, who fund their campaigns to keep them in office and subvert the will of the American people. I'm tired of our politicians doing that, and at every turn they subvert the will of the American people. Debra Medina is a constitutionalist who is not going to do that. She's a true citizen representative who's going to represent the people of the state of Texas.
The weird thing about Rick Perry is you want to like him, and you just can't because of the way he acts. He looks good and he talks good, and yet the way that he acts is completely different to what he says, or a lot different from what he says. He makes a lot of nice promises, and then he doesn't keep those promises. He says he's conservative, and he acts in ways that aren't. So, again, which makes it even worse for Rick, because you want to like him. He seems to be the complete package, but he can't live up to his own hype.
Glenn Beck, I listen to him every day before now, and I T-voted because I work a lot of hours, but I'd watch it 2 or 3 in one day when I got the opportunity. But he made me very angry because he went against everything that he's ever spoken about by sandbagging Debra the way he did today.
I caught the Glenn Beck interview today. I think Glenn Beck is going to lose a lot of fans. I'm deeply disappointed in him. I believe he's become a fraud. He's a gentleman who preaches constitutionalism, who preaches Tea Party candidates and electing people, true citizen representatives, and he turned and ambushed Debra Medina. And it's my understanding that he is a friend of Rick Perry, and that the whole interview it spoke volumes of who Glenn Beck is now.
I was there when Debra Medina signed the 9/12 pact. That was the first time I saw her in person. So it was very surprising to me that Glenn Beck didn't pounce on that and say, wow, so you're the only governor candidate in Texas that signed my pledge. Why didn't he bring that up? I feel like he's a hypocrite when he talks about question openly and boldly and don't believe everything your government says and let's save the republic and we've got to get rid of the progressives, and then he treats a true freedom-loving candidate like this. It is completely hypocrisy, and I don't really have the respect for him I did before.
I was very consistent listener to Glenn Beck, radio show and TV show as my schedule allowed. I feel personally betrayed. He didn't just attack Medina, he attacked the grassroots movement that helped Medina get the recognition that she has now. She is where she is because she speaks the ideology and the ideals of grassroots conservatives. I did listen to the interview. I listened to Glenn's introduction where he said how he really liked Rick Perry a whole lot, which is actually different from what he had been saying earlier in the week. I heard the interview and I heard the post-interview discussion, which was really worse than the interview. The mocking and the unreasonable reaction to what she said.
I am a very faithful Debra Medina supporter. The interview today did nothing except booster my will to help her win this campaign. Glenn Beck missed a great opportunity to interview a freedom fighter, constitutional conservative, and he blew his chance. Shame on Glenn.
What astounds me is that Medina is running against two incumbents, two elitist, progressive incumbents, and she is the candidate who has pledged to the 9/12 principles and values that Glenn espoused to begin with. What's wrong with this picture? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and it smacks of something rotten.
I think that I voted for Rick Perry twice because I didn't have any better option. And I believe that Debra Medina is the best option and the best person I've seen in the political playing field in all my years.
I was totally taken aback by Glenn Beck's attitude over the whole thing. And I think the worst part was what happened after he hung up with Debra and how he and his cohorts continued on the program laughing and joking about it and actually putting Debra down. It was not professional at all. So he dropped in my estimation a lot. So what I did, I turned around and I went online and sent Debra some money. And I was happy to see that a lot of other people did the same thing today.
I'm going to stay focused on this campaign. I know that certainly Kay and Rick would like to get me off track and off message. We've recognized, we knew when we got over the target we'd start getting fired at. That's what's happening here. This campaign is surging. They're going to come every way that they can. I am what I profess to be, an average Texan, common sense, common values, championing transparency and excellence in government. That's going to make both of them very uncomfortable. We've all got questions about just what kind of deal did Governor Perry cut with Centra and international interests? What kind of deals has Kay Hutchison cut with banksters and Wall Street interests that are not in the best interest of Texas? That's what I'm here to do, work for the best interest of Texans. That's what we're going to stay focused on. And we've seen, I think, a good deal of support. The dust will settle. People will see at the end of the day that we're doing the job we came out to do. I'm seeking to lead Texas as your governor. I'm going to continue to work and focus on that and not be distracted by these things, not get off of the focus. I feel a little bit like as a nurse I'm in the middle of a code, and I've said to my team today, we all have a job to do. Stay at your job. The patient will live. We will survive through this, and we will lead Texas. It'll be a brighter day for all of us.